My name is Scott Hampton. I live in Central California in a town called Visalia. We're 9 miles just west of the Sierra Nevada mountains where Sequoia National Park is, between Bakersfield and Fresno. So today's topics are making kitchen items, kitchen gadgets, utensils, things like that. So this should be a fun demo. I'm going to go through making Spurtles, spatulas, mortar and pestle, which come in really handy in a kitchen. And then I'm going to grab some kits there, make some handles for like a meat tenderizer and an ice cream scoop or something along those lines. All right, so first things first, we're going to do a Spurtle. This is a piece of 1x1 silver maple, which I like the grain in it. It's a good dense grain for maple, and that's what you want for a Spurtle. You don't want really open grains because it's really hard to clean and things like that. So this is 12 inches long, and the first thing I want to do is I want to round it over. I need to adjust my tool rest down just a little bit, and we should be good to go. Yep. And I've got my little 1-inch roughing gouge, which is great for, small diameter or square pieces like this. And we'll get the lathe started here. We just got this between centers. I got just a cup center with a point. That's my one-way live center there. And then I've got a step center on the headstock side. So I'm going to turn this up a little bit faster, probably about 2,000. A little too fast there. There we go. It makes the cuts a lot easier and cleaner when you can get the speed up. So I'm just starting on the inside and working my way towards the headstock. I don't like to bring it in right on the edge because you can't get chip out. Bringing this tool into it, the wood directly that way. So I'm just going to get it round at this end so I can see how far I need to take the rest of it. Sounds like I got it round, but I'm going to turn off the lathe and have a look. Okay, so that's as far as the depth goes, so I can just follow that all the way down. And I need to adjust the tool rest just a hair more down. This is running a little high. There we go. You can also do this with a skew if you prefer. I find it kind of difficult to use a skew as far as roughing down goes. Especially a thin piece of wood like this, I always tend to break them. I think I just need more practice with the skew. Oh, we lost somebody. And now we're going to go the same way, but towards the headstock. Same type of cut, starting on the inside of the piece and working my way towards the end. It sounds like we got it all around, but let's just make sure here. That's a pretty piece of maple there. It just got a little bit flat in right there, so we just get rid of that. It's got some wax on there, and I don't want to leave that. All right. We got that round, so now what we need to do is measure the handle portion and the steering portion. I like to work with the handle down here and make the stirring portion this way. You can do it the opposite. You can make the handle at this end and do the stirring. It's all up to you. It just all depends on your preference. But I like to make the handle at least 1/3 of the length there, maybe a little more. So I usually go if it's 12 inches, I would divide it by 4. That'd be 8, and then I add an extra inch for the handle. I have large hands, and it makes it easier to handle there. So for me, I mean, some people like a smaller handle, some people like a real long handle. It all depends on your taste as far as spurtles go. So we can still use the roughing gouge just to get the stirring part rough shaped in. So I'm going to grab me my parting tool and just put a little mark down here where I want this in the end here, because I don't want to leave those stub center marks in the wood. This is just for give me an idea how far I've got to work here. Same thing on the tailstock end. Don't want that mark in the bottom there. There we go. And I need to tighten up my tail center just a little bit more. I can hear it kind of whining a little bit. All right, so I'm just going to turn it down just a little bit. I think it's going a little too fast. There we go. So I got that mark there, so I'm going to put another parting tool mark here. That's where I marked it with the pencil. Don't want to go too thin because you don't have a lot of meat to begin with, but we just want to get this rough shaped in. So you want to get this part kind of curved down, do a pilling cut down into that area. And I'm going to take it down a little thinner. It is a little thick still, even at 1 inch. Spurtles are great for stirring things in a pot instead of a spoon. I really like using these in the kitchen. And now I'm just going to thin this out as we get towards this. Make it a nice long kind of curve here. We kind of leave it fatter at the bottom where it goes into the pot down here, and we'll thin it out. You can do a lot with these small roughing gouges. I tend to do a lot with my large one too on larger pieces. You get a lot of shape done with a roughing gouge, more than just takes practice with it. Okay, so I want to leave the ends alone right now. I don't want to cut too thin. It still needs to go down a little bit more of a taper towards the end here. There we go. Start tapering it right about there and work our way down. Kind of brush that off. You guys can see a little bit better what's going on. There we go. Now we're getting it thinner, just like I wanted it. Now there's some light cuts back and forth, sort of just kind of just that size, just a little bit. There we go. So I'm just going to stop there as far as this goes before I grab my regular spindle gouge, and we'll start working on the handle. I like to leave kind of like a very long oval in this area, and then a bead at the end right here. So I'm just going to this in right here. This will be the bead area. And I'll create another bead at the other end here. And this area here will be just like a long oval. So we just want to kind of do some peeling cuts just to waste away some of that wood. You can adjust your handles as far as your hand goes. We got a pretty good shape going for the handle there. And get rid of some of those deeper tool marks here. There we go. There's kind of a dip there. We want to get kind of rid of that before we grab the other spindle gouge. So here and here is where this we'll have the beads. But first I just want to clean all this up. So I got me a 1/2 inch spindle gouge here. And I'm just going to 45 degrees. I'm rubbing the bevel. Then I'm going to lift the handle up until I start cutting and just do a gentle cut. Follow that all the way down. That's some vibration there. That's because the piece is getting thinner. And it is hanging out a little ways. Even though you got 12 inches of, right now, less than 1 inch type of wood here. So start in the middle and work my way down. Just clean those cuts up. Do some final shaping. Then we'll come back and go the opposite way. Same thing, bring the handle up after the bevel's rubbing. Just a nice, gentle push all the way across. Oh, lost the cut, so I can come back and pick it up. Do some final shaping here into where that bead's going to be. There we go. Okay, so I see a high spot right here. I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to stop the lathe and just see how that feels in my hand. There is some vibration, left some lines in there, some texture. That's interesting. So that feels pretty good. I still got a few tool marks I want to get rid of right there. I felt the high spot still at this end, so I'm going to clean that up. Then turn the handle so you tuck it right under there. Still a little bit right here. All right, anything else? Sandpaper will kind of clean all the rest of that up. So let's make the beads real quick. So I want to just bring my tool in. And I am going to change tool rest at this point. This tool rest is as far down as it goes. It's the one that came with the lathe. So I'm going to grab me a robust so I can adjust it a little bit better. Lower it down a little bit more. There we go. So I need to bring it up a little bit. There we go. And that should be good, I think. Yes, that's where I needed it. The other tool rest was a little too high for this cut. So what I want to do is I'm just going to bring the tool in. Still a little too high. Let's drop it a little more. Let's try that. It's best to have your tool rest adjusted to where you want it, always. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start rubbing the bevel. I'm going to bring my hand up. And I'm going to switch over to the 3 cameras. You guys can have a better look at what's going on. There we go. I like this 3 camera view. So I'm going to bring my handle up and just do a twist and a push. I'm still too high. Sometimes it takes a minute to get it set right. There we go. Same thing, and then we're just going to do a twist and a kind of a push at the same time as we turn the handle. Give the tool a twist. Opposite thing here. The bevel rub and lift your handle till it starts cutting. And then just twist the handle as you push in towards that bead there. So, and we can just kind of very lightly touch that up. That bead came out pretty well. I like that. And I'm just going to put like a little, turn the tool almost at 45, put a little detail right there. And I still need to adjust this a little bit more. I'm going to kind of make that a little smaller right here. So bring it into the bead. And just kind of cut that back. There we go. I'm going to create a V there because I'm going to put some burn lines in there just to highlight these sections. All right, so now we can move the tool rest down a little ways. And we'll create that other bead. So I need to get my parting tool and just go a little bit deeper and take some of this away. Just so it's out of the way. Take it down to almost to where I'm touching the tool rest or the tail center. There we go. Now we can make a nice bead there. Same thing. Ride the bevel, lift the handle, give it a twist and a push. There we go. Opposite direction. All right. And we'll just kind of clean up any small tool marks. When it comes to making beads, I like sandpaper's your friend as far as getting them just perfectly round. But you do want to get as many of the tool marks off as you can. So this, I'm going to cut this away right there. This will be the top of the spurtle. So I'm just going to kind of bring this in a little bit more. I really don't like the way that's looking, so I'm just going to kind of do some push cuts towards that bead again. I'm going to adjust this shape. This is all left from the roughing gouge, so we want to clean this all up. Get the shape kind of the way we want it. Get rid of any high or low spots. There's a high spot right here, so we want to get rid of that. Kind of smooth everything out. Kind of adjust that. Okay, so we're going to go the opposite way now. Bevel rub it and lift the handle until we pick up a cut. I need to move my tool rest over a little bit and pick that cut back up. Pick this down a little bit more. This is where the end's going to be here, of course, but we don't want to take it all the way off because we do need to sand it. So I'm just going to grab me some 180 and just go over it real quick. Just to give it a little better look. Now you can finish these, not finish them. It's all up to you. I do recommend using a oil type finish like walnut oil or something that's food safe. I wouldn't recommend using polyurethane because it will wear down when you wash it, and it'll leave bare spots on the wood, and then it's really hard to repair that. All right, so we can just part this puppy off. So I'm just going to take this end down quite a bit. Let's take this side down first a little ways. All right, turn up the lathe again. Go. We don't need it going super fast for this. Turn it down, because if it does break free, we don't want it coming flying in our faces, of course. I'm not going to cut it all the way off. I'm going to trim it down to where I could twist it off. All right, I'm just going to grab my pull cut saw there. Just get it thin enough to where I could use that. And I'm just going to clean that tool mark off of there real quick. Sandy can take care of that too. When we get to there, there we go, got that gone. All right, do the same thing at this end. Can speed it up just a little bit more. Need to bring my tool rest in a little closer. My parting tool might need some sharpening. So I'm just going to leave this in a little rough because this is the end I need to sand on the machine. So there we go. I'll grab my pull saw. That wasn't good. The tool rest got caught under there. Sand that off real quick. There we go. And pull saw. So I'm going to cut the tailstock in first. And then I could just hold it up against the step center while I cut that part. So I need to loosen the tail center just a little bit there. Oh, it broke free. Gonna back this off just a little bit. There we go. And just to give us extra support, I just hold it there. All right. So we've got Spurtle done. We'll be sanding this end with that belt sander and the same thing on this. And finish that Spurtle. So let me go back to that camera again, and we'll just clean up the ends here real quick. And we're just going to twist it around till we get a nice shake going there. And bring the back handle up as we turn it. And it'll create a nice round bottom on here. Get rid of that nubbin on the bottom. Then I just take regular hand sanding and just clean that rest of that up. And then we can just take and put this on the end here straight up and get rid of that nubbin. Give it a nice flat area there, right on the bottom there. Hopefully you guys could hear what I was saying with all that. So we got the Spurtle done. Just a little hand sanding on there with some 180 grit, and we'll finish that off. That sander will leave a slightly rough edge there, and then I just flatten the bottom of the Spurtle there. So there's the Spurtle. So let's make a spatula. So these are what I make my spatula blanks out of. Just poplar. You can use maple. These get used up so much, the ends get burnt in the fry pan and things like that. So they only last so long, and then you just got to get a new one. So I don't really go for the real expensive woods. So you can see I've got them cut shaped. This will be the spatula end right here. And then I just tapered it down, and I'll be cutting the handle of the spatula in this area. Right there. And then for the end, when we make that nice and sharp for our spatula, again, we'll be using that belt sander over there. So I want to grab me my small ruler. I just want to mark the center. Now this. So I got it pretty well centered on the piece there. So it's can't hardly read that. So it's 5.5 millimeters there. Or centimeters. That 5 millimeters? Yeah. Okay. 5.5 millimeters. So I need 2 1/4 centimeters, millimeters. Maybe I'll use the inch. I'm so used to doing the inches. I'm trying to get myself to use the millimeters a little more, but so it's 2 1/4 inches wide. So I need 1 1/8 inch. There's the center right there. Let's measure this. Just shy of 1 inch, so I'm just going to barely touch, just shy of 1/2 inch there to find the center. Then I'll just eyeball it from there. This just gives me a road map to where I can put my centers. There we go. The large end goes towards the headstock. And I'm just going to adjust it as I go. See if I got it pretty well centered. I got it on the mark. I just want to make sure it's like in the middle that way. Looks pretty good. Bring the tailstock up. And that moved, unfortunately. So I need to readjust that again. Bring my tail center up a little bit closer. There we go. Let's try that again. Should have left the mark there. That's adjustable there. All right, we are good to go there. And just bring the tailstock up. Try to get in the middle there. Kind of eyeball it. Take a look down this way. Let's see if we got it in the middle. That looks good. We can just tighten it up. Step centers are great for this. I've also seen it done by putting this long end in a scroll chuck in between the jaws. And once you leave them a little loose, get it centered on your tail center, and then you can tighten down the jaws. I like to do it between centers. So I'm going to grab me that roughing gouge again. Just need to get a little closer. And this is going to be a little high, a little higher Because of the shape of this, we need to adjust the tool rest differently. And we'll just see how it brings it down. There we go. That's what we wanted. And I just kind of do a line of sight there so the tool rest is parallel with the piece. So I'm just looking at the line there. That way I can just go straight across my tool rest and use that as a guide. All right, so start making that handle. You can turn it up, especially on a piece like this. You're turning a lot of air, so the speed is really, really helpful with this. So that way you're not bouncing the tool around too much. So I'm just going to bring in gently bring my roughing gouge in, just soften all those corners off. And what I'm seeing here is I can see the shadow between the solid wood and where it's just wood air. And down in this area, we want it to get where the handle is solid wood. And then we'll work our way out, kind of bring that in and round this area over without making it totally round. So I came up to where that final shaping was as far as where I cut it on the bandsaw. Now let's stop where it is straight. I don't want to go any further than that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of taper this down towards the end. And I'm just looking at that shadow through here just to see how clean of a cut I'm getting. You can see the shape form on the horizon. So I'm going to stop the lathe and we can have a look to see how it's going here. So you can see how that's shaping nicely. It's nice and round all the way across here. You still want to make this more of a handle. So we need to take this down a little bit further in this area. And we'll clean this up as we get going here. I'm just going to clean that up now. That'd probably be a good idea. So I can see where it's kind of not looking very good there. So I'm just going to keep tapering it down until we get to solid wood through this area here. A little bit of a longer handle than I got there. There we go. I'm just adjusting the shape coming out from the handle. A little bit back and forth. Nice long stroke there. We got a nice even. So we're getting round here. It must have been off center just a little bit because it's still flat there. And it's gone there. So we can go a little bit thinner. Not much, but a little bit. And adjust my tool rest in a little bit closer on this end. Okay, so I'm just going to get this round at this end so I know a shape to aim for as far as diameter goes. All right, so we're getting it round. So I don't want to go any thinner at this end. Now, if you got any questions, please open your mics and let me know. So I'm just looking at the horizon there. I need to take a little bit more off at this end here. Gonna match the shape all the way down. So it's kind of hard to sand these, as you can imagine. So I kind of avoid that. So the better the cuts you get off of your tool, the less you have to worry about sanding the piece. So I'm just adjusting the shape now, just taking small cuts down, get rid of any high spots that I can see. There's a high spot right here, just gentle cuts. And there's some right in this area here, nice and clean. And we'll see how the handle's shaping up there. All right, because it's off center, this is a little flatter than I wanted. It's hard to take that off without taking more of this off and making this thinner. So I'm just going to kind of make it thinner right through here, and hopefully it'll match to where this area is. So I'm just going to mark it with a pencil. That way I know where this area is right here. So I just want to work in this area here, kind of thin it down a little bit better. So I'm going to grab me my smaller spindle gouge here. And I need to readjust my tool rest. In fact, I'm going to grab me my smaller one. I have a smaller one than that. That way I can just get right in there with the tool. There we go. Bring that up. Love these small ones. I don't use it that much. It looks like it got a little bit of rust on there. That's how long it's been since I've used this one. But it allows me to get in between the centers and the area I need, especially on a shape like this. So I just want to take it down from that pencil line for the rest of the way down, create the handle. A little too high. There we go. And we'll put a little detail here just to spruce it up in a minute. I just want to get that. So we're pretty close. Just a couple more cuts in this area and we've got it matched up. And I just want to bring this curve here for the end of the handle. Get that started going. Leave enough room to part it off. There we go. Now we can just kind of make this area a little bit narrower to make it nice, to make it feel nice in your hand. So I'm just going to create a small cove here. Oop. Not used to using this little tool rest. And get rid of that little tool mark there. And then that's just going to bring this down. Match that depth. There we go. And just a little bit more, not much. Let's get that matched up. I'm going to put like a little bead right here at the end just to get everything to line up. So I'm just going to make this a little bit narrower through here. And bring it out. Just want to get that matching. Okay, that's good. So now I'm just going to create a bead right in this area right here. And move my tool rest over. So I just same kind of cut as before. Start the bevel going. And let's do a push and a twist into the wood. And we'll do that on the same thing on this end. And now I'm just going to take this down to where it matches the size of the bead. And I'll come back and get that a little bit narrower through there. Bring the tool around almost 45 degrees and just cut right into that spot right there. There we go. Now clean that up. So I need to take some of that down right there. So I'm just going to do a V cut. So I'm going to start the bevel rub and raise my hand. Give it a turn and bring it in just like that. Give this a little more detail here, a little high spot. And a little more deeper here. Not quite turning the tool at 90. Just almost. The same thing on this end here. And clean that little tool mark up. All right, so pretty much got the handle done. Okay, we got a flat spot there, so we need to take that bead down just a little bit more. You guys probably saw that coming. Make sure that's flat. All right, almost gone. Once we get this adjusted, I'll adjust the other sides to match here. Now you can see what happens when the piece isn't exactly centered. This can happen too if there's just a slightest twist in the wood. All right, so sandpaper will get that little bit out. So I want to just take that down a little bit more here. So I'm going to bring my tool rest over. Just kind of do a push cut. Down towards the bead. Take that down. There we go. That looks much better. Clean up the shape here. Kind of get rid of any high spots in the handle. Come back and just kind of touch this up. Kind of get it to match a little bit better. There we go. Alright, so I'm just gonna just pull on the side. I'm just gonna bring this. I might just leave that size right there. Don't want to get it to too much thinner. All right, let's see how thin we've got it there. So I'm going to start taking some of this down a little bit more. And we should be good to go. And we'll go over to the sander. And we'll make this nice spatula on the end there. There we go. Still a little too flat on here. And I'll come back and I'll just clean all that, reshape that. That's really good right there. So I'm just going to grab me my larger tool rest again, come back and clean this up. Now you can make this a odd detail too. You can make it like an OG curve. So maybe we'll try doing that with the roughing gouge here. Spruce it up just a little bit. That'd be interesting. It's always fun to play around. Just that OG curve looks like it's already gotten started anyway. And we'll just kind of curve it down into the handle right there. It's almost like a bell shape almost. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that looks pretty cool. I need to clean this kind of a high bump right there. So I'm just going to kind of smooth that out a little bit. So it's just too much of a bump there. So that's an interesting shape for. All right. So when I turn it on, I just see a small tool mark right in here. So you want to just make sure those are all gone. See, what I like to do with these, I'll hand sand the sides. This is almost impossible to do this area with the lathe running. So I hand sand this area here. But I can hit the sandpaper with that. So I'm going to grab me that piece I was using earlier. Where did I throw you? Oh, here's another one. So I'm going to back off the tool rest here. I'm just going to clean up the handle. Didn't see that. I need to clean that up just a little bit. So I'm going to grab me my very small detail gouge and just kind of clean this area up here. Go in there. And I can make that kind of match on this end here. There we go. That looks much better. Turn down the lathe. Get it about 600. Any slight tool marks will disappear really quick at 180. And we'll clean this up. Get the bead cleaned up nice. So there's one more thing I want to do at this end is I just want to round that over slightly using the roughing gouge. So that way it's not flat all the way down. So I'm just going to kind of bring my roughing gouge in and just clean that up until it's round. It works pretty quick. So we're just going to start at the bottom here and just kind of just gently go across it. Whenever you're working on a piece like this that has shadows, it's good to have something dark on the other side of your lathe so you can see it. And I'm just going to have a look to see if we're almost round. We're getting there, not quite as much as I want, a little bit deeper. Oh, kind of a big bite there, a little more than I wanted. We got wood to play with, so we can just bring this area down, match it. Sometimes when you're turning wood like this, with a lot of air in it, it's easy to. So let me turn up the lathe a little faster. You can hear the difference in the cut. It sounds a lot smoother, that's because it is. Just kind of taper that into there. Oh, we got a bump right here. Get rid of that. Just as smooth as you can. It's another area you have to hand sand. There we go. All right, we got a nice shape there. So what I would do is I'd take it to the... I need to part this off. So I'm just going to bring it down just a little ways. Oh. I'll probably... I'm going to do a final shaping of the end of the handle on the sander. All right, so we'll stop there. I'll grab that pull saw again. There we go. It's got a nice shaped spatula there. So let me switch over to the sander here. Let's see. Oh, there we are. This is just a handheld sander, just upside down. And we'll use this just to ease all this off of here. You just want to take it and this can take a while, so I'm not gonna finish the whole thing today. I just want to give you guys an idea of how it works. You guys get the idea. You just want to keep working at it until it's done. Let me turn this off. So as you can see, the sanding just getting it further and further down, which is what we're shooting for. Oh, I'll get better in the camera there. It takes just a little while to get it down. I probably need a new belt on there. At least get it good and clean. And you just want to taper it until it's a nice shape of a spatula there. Now we can move on to making a scoop. Scoops are really fun to make. So we got that. This is in a 4-jaw chuck, and I brought the tail center up to help cut back on vibration, but we'll remove it when we want to hollow this out. But just this general nice easy cuts out towards the tail stock here till we get it nice and round. Now I'm going to do a peeling cut right here just to get rid of some of this wood by the chuck. And I can still see a shadow there, so we're not quite round there. We still need to take some down.
Scott?
Yeah.
What size is that?
This is a 2x2. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a 2x2 square. All right, so we got just a little bit more to go to get it round. All right, I can tell by the sound of the cut that we are there right there, so we just need to work our way to that depth. Listening to your cuts tells you a lot about your wood and what it's doing with the tool. So I'm going to start peeling cuts here. Just take it down to that depth. Yeah, so this is just going to be a Richard Rappin style scoop. So we got a nice and round. There's some nice figure in the wood here. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but there's some little bit of fiddleback in there, which will really look nice once this is really oiled up. So we are done with the roughing gouge. So now I just need to clean up the end with my parting tool. Put all those tools away. Where did I put my parting tool? There it is. So I just want to clean up this end here, so I'm going to move my tool rest over just a little bit just to get this nice and flat before we start shaping. So I want to decide how big the handle wants to be with the scoop. So I usually make like a 1/3 handle and 2/3 of the scoop. So let's see how much we've got playing here. It's about 3.5. So if we go make the handle a 1.5. Yeah, let's make the handle 1.5 inches. Thereabouts. Scoops aren't exact. Well, maybe we'll make it 2 3/4. Yeah, that looks good right there. So I'll just mark that. Now I'll grab me my parting tool and part down, not all the way, because we still need to hollow this out, so we want to leave a little bit of meat on the piece. All this part will be the scoop, this will be the handle. But we want to hollow it out before we even get close to making the handle. But I want to start shaping the scoop part so I can get an idea of how deep to go as far as the hollowing. So I'm just going to start rounding this down to the depth of that parting tool groove that I created there. And we could still play with the sizes of everything here. Take some of this away. And we're just going to kind of round this over a little bit. Give it a nice soft shape. And it's got a little bit of tool marks there. I'm just going to take care of now. And there's still some work to be done down here. So we can adjust this as we go down. Make the handle maybe a little longer if the scoop part looks a little bit too long. I'm going to switch over to the 3 cameras again so you guys can get an idea of how I'm holding my tool. So I like the 3 cameras so you guys can see my ups and downs and things. A little bit deeper right here. There we go. We got a nice shape going there. And it slightly tapers down towards the top, which I like to do. It's a nice design. All right, so we are ready to hollow it out. So I need to back off the tool rest here, or not the tool rest, but the tail center. All right. So there's 2 ways we can hollow it out. We can hollow it out with a spindle gouge, or we can use a easy wood scraper if that's what you have in your shop. So I'll show both just to keep you guys. informed with different ways of doing it. So I'm going to start with the spindle gouge. I want to get the post as much as I can under center there to give it extra support. That way I'm not working on the edges of the tool rest. We are good to go. So when you're doing this, I'm going to zoom in on a couple cameras here. So you guys can get a better look at what I'm doing there. There we go. That should be good. I need to back that off a little bit because of the bevel. And it's right on center. You want to make sure your tool's on center. The point of your tool when the handle's level. And I am just a little bit too high, so I'm going to adjust this. This is really important when it comes to hollowing these out this way. All right, so there we go. So what I want to do is I'm going to come in with the point of my tool. The flute's almost closed towards me. Using the tip of the tool, I'm just going to push it in, and it's going to act like a drill almost. And then I'm just going to swing the tool out towards me. And we can just keep working our way down, just like this. But because of the depth of this scoop, I'll probably need to get that easy wood tool out just to finish this up so I can go to the depth I want. And I've got my tool rest jabbing me in my arm, so I'm going to get rid of that real quick. I really need to put, this thing is 47 inches between centers, and I still manage to jab my elbow every now and again. So I need to put my extension on my tool, on my lathe there, and I'll get rid of that. So one more time with this tool, see how it's starting to vibrate. And I'm cutting with the tip of the tool when you do this, not the side, but the tip. If you're cut with the bevel on the side right here, you're taking too much of a bite and it could catch on you. So you just want to use the tip of the tool, swing your handle around. And I'm just going to clean that up in the middle there. Oh. Side of the tool caught the ball. Thankfully, nothing terrible happened there. So I'm just going to measure the depth right here, see how far we've got to go. All right, so I'm going to grab me my easy wood tool, my rounded tip. These are great for doing end-grain pieces like this. And I can go all that far. There's a line on the telling you don't go any further than that. That's the maximum overhang, and there's plenty of room there. So these cut really well in end grain, and you can go back and forth with the cut too, just like this. And they really do make quick work of the hollowing process, whether you're making boxes or things like that. So I'm going to just check the depth. Use my thumb gauge, like it's pretty easy. Okay, we're almost there, not quite. And then we can start making the walls a little thinner once we get the depth right. So I'm just working on the depth right now. Then we'll thin out those walls. Okay, I don't want to go any deeper, really. So we can start thinning the walls out now. That's good and thin. Gonna match the shape of the outside with the inside. Or the inside with the outside. Make sure you're not leaving any little nubbins in the bottom there. Nice round curve in the bottom there. Don't really want anything flat. All right, so we're going to ease up on the cuts here, not so heavy. Now, I would never have thought of using easy wood tools. In fact, I never did until I actually won a set during a contest. And that's the set I have. And it's perfect for things like this. I never realized how nice they are to use for ingrain until I won a set. So we've been thinking about them. They're great. So we're at the right depth. Let's see if we got that. We need to take a little bit more thin right there. Just in this area here to match the outside. I could rub my fingers in there and I could actually tell the shape. Using my thumb and index finger here, I can just rub it here and see if the shape matches, and it does. Yeah, it's got that little nubbin in the bottom, so I want to get rid of that. Those never look good in the bottom of a scoop. So to get rid of the nubbin, I come up from underneath it, and I drop the tool handle, and it cuts it away, and then I move the handle away from me a little ways. And it really gets rid of those little bumps that show up in the bottom of the ingrain hollowings like this. Okay, so it's not quite round on the bottom, so that'll get quick work real quick here. You want a nice round bottom in a scoop. You don't want anything flat. I did have a little extra wood to play with, so there we go. That feels much better. So I'm going to grab me a piece of sandpaper here. I don't have my air hose over here, darn it. Thought I had it over here. It's on the other side of the shop, so grab me a small piece of sandpaper here, rolled up. Just kind of roll it around my finger there and just kind of clean that up on the inside a little bit. And we'll sand the outside here. Get that all cleaned up. And now we can start making the handle. Kind of soften the edges of the rim here. So when you're scooping stuff, you're not having a sharp edge on it. Kind of round it over. These are great for like sugar scoops and things like that. So now we got a nice end for the scoop. Just want to see if we got it thin enough for the sanding portion, and we do. All right. Don't want to go too thin or it'll get brittle over time and it'll break off. So now we want to create the handle. So we need to take a lot of this wood away. So to do that, I'm going to use my badan, which I love to do to remove wood quickly. There we are. Oh, this is a scraper, not a badan. It must be on my other side of my tool rest rack here. Where is my badan? There you are. All right. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with using badans, but they're interesting tools to use. It's narrower on the bottom and wider on the top. It's got a nice long bevel here. And in England, they use them what I call upside down. They use the wider on the tool rest. Here, I've always just used the narrow part. And it works just as well, I think. So if it works like a scraper, you need to have a burr on the end there. I'm going to grab me my diamond card just to make sure it does have one. And these diamond cards are really handy for just really quick touch-ups like this. So you just hold it against the bevel there and just give it a couple of swipes. Oh, sounds like somebody just came in. Yeah, just want to make sure I got a bevel going. Yep, there we go. And this is going to take this down really, really quick. So we're just going to put it on there just like you would a scraper or something. Or a parting tool, and you just kind of ease it in. Use just half a cut of the width of the tool. So now what I need to do is get my parting tool, get that down to the depth I want here. Do that one more time. And we can just kind of. And I'm going to grab me my spindle gouge here in a second and clean all this up. Get that shape right. I'll put my easy wood tool away. I'm done with that. I don't need to have that underfoot. All right, so I'll grab me a spindle gouge here, and I'm just going to clean up this area here. Get that shape the way I want it. Just starting the cut, and I'm twisting the tool as I make it until I'm down to the depth of the parting groove there, right there. And we got a nice shape going. So now I can grab that bandana again and take this down to that level. Remember, half a cut. Make sure you don't go all the way down too much because you want to be able to make that handle with some detail. Which is a trick in itself because you are working in this little area right there. All right. So we'll get this spindle gouge going here. So I'm just going to create a bead right here. It goes towards the bottom of the cup a little bit there. This is a large detail gouge, by the way. It's very shallow. It really cuts down on vibration when making cuts like this. Let's make a nice little bead right, kind of vibrating there. Yeah.
What brand is your gouge, and what angle do you have it ground at?
This is a Thompson shallow detail gouge. It's a 1/2 inch. And golly, I think I got it. It's at least 40, maybe 35 bevel on it. That's much more of an angle than most spindle gouges, as you can see in the picture there on the bottom. It's got a pretty good slope there to the bevel. But this allows me to get this large tool into spaces like this. And I like using it for this because of the overhang. Because you can only get the tool rest so close because of the scoop area. So you can only you can't really use a small or a small parting tool with it, or a large spindle gouge. And I'm just creating a nice little cove here for the handle. Oop. Had my tool not quite closed, so it skipped back on me. That's what caused that. My tool wasn't close enough, and it caught right there, and it skated it back. Whenever you're making an entry cut, you want your flute closed. And I'm just going to clean this little tool mark off here. There we go. And there's a high spot right in the middle of that cove I want to get rid of. So I'm just do a couple of back and forths here. All right. I'm just going to kind of dive in right here. And I got a high spot right on the top of that bead. So I want to kind of, or dip in it. I want to kind of clean that up. It's a little too much for the sandpaper to take care of. There we go. That's better. Much better shape. I'm just going to kind of dive that in there a little bit. And I got kind of a slight tool mark there. All right, so sandpaper time. So you just roll up the sandpaper in like a tube-like shape. You can go across that cove pretty easy. Clean this edge up here. And I'm going to come in with my thin parting tool. I'm going to flatten that out with my regular parting tool, and then I'm going to come in with a thin parting tool and part this off. I'm going to move my tool rest out of the way so I can get underneath here. And clean up that bead. Get rid of that little high spot on the top and round this over. Get rid of any tool marks that were left behind in this portion. I need another piece of sandpaper. This one's wore out. Where's another piece here? There we go. We need to turn the lathe now. I forgot about that. I'm sanding. So this is 1 or 220 I'm using now. This will be the final one I use. So just give it a. This is such a nice piece of maple. I just want to get most of the sanding marks out before I oil this one up. And now just to give it a couple of highlights. Where are you? What drawer did I put those in? I thought I had them. There you are. I'm going to put some burn marks in those little grooves I cut. So I'm just going to turn this up. And I'm just going to put the wire down in there and just kind of burn some marks. There we go. It's starting to smoke. Get it to smoke, and you're good to go. It kind of gives those little spots a little highlight. So now I'm just going to start parting this off. First thing I want to do is I'm going to get as much waste wood away from my chuck as I can. So I'm just going to bring my parting tool in and just kind of give me a little room here for my thin parting tool to come in. I'm going to dress this bottom part up just a little bit more with my spindle gouge. That's why I left a little wood there. So I'm just going to bring this in, just kind of ease that area over. There we go. Kind of round it around. All right. The sandpaper. Now I've got my thin parting tool here and clean that, part this off. All right, thin parting tool. It's an 1/8 of an inch stick, or 3/16 maybe. But I'm just gonna bring it in and just kind of part this off, and then we'll adjust the shape on that sander again when we do the cup part. Sand away a lot of that. So I want to just gently put my finger in here and then catch it. But I'm just going to trim all this away with the sander, this area here, and it's going to make a nice scoop shape. And then we'll just kind of clean up the back end here, right there. So back over to the camera here. There we go. So I'm just going to hold it here, and once it starts taking that wood away, I'm just going to draw it up, just like that, until it creates that shape on the bottom there. So wish me luck. You can see it's getting the shape of the scoop right there. And these will always need a little bit of hand sanding. Kind of round that over a little bit. And we got a scoop. So I just grabbed me some, probably like 180 or something, and just clean this area up right here. Give it a nice little round everything over, get a nice look. This little tear out in the middle, but it's a demo piece. Oh, I'm not too concerned about it. But there you go. There's a nice little scoop you use for sugar or flour or something. So I would like to make a handle for a pizza cutter. I buy mine through craft supplies. You can get them through Woodcraft and things like that. So, yeah, let me grab my pizza cutter here. There's all kinds of kits you can get. I've got a meat tenderizer. We can make a handle for that. We got the pizza cutter. You can make handles for like food graters. And there's one for ice cream scoops. There's an ice cream scoop. So let's go with the pizza cutter right now. The meat tenderizer is a little different. It's more of something that fits in the palm of your hand. But these are very nice, very large pizza cutters. They're less than $20 each, which I find is kind of a bargain for the quality it is. And these sell really well at craft shows. I have no problem selling them for like 50 bucks. Maybe 60, depending on where I'm selling them at. So the parts are, this is a threaded insert that goes into the wood. This end does. And this part screws right into the pizza cutter. That way you can take it off the handle and throw the pizza cutter part into the dishwasher. You don't want to throw the wooden handle in there with it, of course. So it's a very handy thing. The ice cream scoop comes with like that. The food grater. This is a nice piece of wood. It'll make a really nice handle. Oh, this is 1.5 inches for those keeping track. It's 1.5 inch piece. 1.5 just fits right into the piece here, into the jaws, where it clamps down on 4 corners. I like these jaws too because they're serrated right in this area here. That's the wax I used earlier. And it really, when you put a blank in here like this, it really grips the wood well. So we've got 1.5, so I'm doing 3/4. The 3/4 mark there. And turn it this way. Do a 3/4 inch mark there. And that's where the center should go. It's right in that crosshairs. That's where I should be drilling. And I need to mark a little hole, and I can't find my awl, so I'm going to use my tel center to do this. Just to mark a hole for the drill, so it doesn't. It's always good to make a hole a little bit deeper than you need if you're gluing something into it, so the glue has some place to go if there's a little bit too much. All right, so I'm just turn up the lathe a little slow, start it low, and get it about 400 RPMs. Don't need to drill really fast here. And we'll just start taking this out. And just go a little bit deeper. It's better to go a little bit deeper than you need than not deep enough. Yeah, I like making handles for these. So I kind of make them kind of ornate. All right, so we can just put that in here. Gently get it started. Get it centered. I like to do them by hand. I don't really like doing it by putting it on the lathe and then turn it on the lathe because I always tend to strip out the threads when I back it out. Works great going in, but not going out. So this is threading really well. You have to back out if it's in the lathe, you have to back it out just right. And I always tend to mess it up when I do that using the tailstock. So almost to the bottom, I can feel it. All right, so back it out gently. There we go. All set. This should screw on here pretty easy now. There it goes. And I have a little washer on there just to protect the metal when I get down to here. So, I'll bring the tailstock up for added support. Let me start. All right, there we go. And we'll just bring this up. It's not exactly in the middle there, so I'm going to just kind of chew it up a little bit better here. There we go. That's good. Tighten everything down. Make sure it's good and tight. So I'm just going to rough this down again, just like I've done many times today. See if I can make quick work of this one this time. All right, here we go. I'm just trying to make quick work of the roughing out. You guys see me do it half a dozen times today. I don't know why that's vibrating today. It's so weird. There it goes. All right. Peel that away on this end. I do believe I got it around. All right, that is really some pretty wood there. So to get started, I need to trim some of that off. Just trim this down a little bit. Off. Take it down to the tailstock, the live center there, but not quite to where I'm hitting the live center. Just one more. All right, so I'm going to mark some things with a pencil. This will go, it'll be like a decorative bead on the end here. Then I'll create a cove here. And probably a narrow bead right here. And this is a nice handle shape for the rest of it right there. So, okay, so I'm grabbing my parting tool again. This is where the bead will go. It's going to be a small, very small cove, not very long. So you can also tell my parting tool's getting a little dull. There we go. So the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to start shaping this area here. And it's going to have a small bead at the end for just to give the threads of the ice cream or the pizza cutter a little extra oomph or holding power, so that you don't want anything thin where those threads are going to be. So we're just going to turn this around. And go a little bit smaller here. And I'm just doing see, I'm just twisting the tool into the wood. And then all this just got to come off. So I'm going to grab me my smaller roughing out gouge and just hog away a bunch of this. And it's going to have like a large area here, and then it's going to taper down into a cove. So I'm already getting that started. Still a little too big for a handle for a pizza cutter. I'm just kind of twist this down just a little narrower. Take this down using a pilling cut. Try to make my small roughing gouge is getting dull from today also. needs to go down quite a ways. So now I'm going to grab me my spindle gouge and I'm just going to finish this up. Get this cove done. And I do have a little bit of a flat there, so I need to give me a small spindle gouge that will fit right up in there. And now that one's, the bevel's too sharp. This one will work. Gotta grab me my small spindle gouge, I think. There we go. So that way I can just get right down in here and just go uphill. You're not supposed to go uphill when making a cove, but kind of roll that over into where that bead's gonna be. All right. So now I can grab my larger spindle gouge and start cleaning all this up. I think I need to get a little bit closer. There we go. Now I need to go downhill both ways here because it is a cove. You don't want to go uphill because you'll be fighting into ingrain if you do. Now, you can do it, but it's going to cause you some tear out. The cut won't be that nice looking. There's some of these tool marks here. I'm just going to take some of this wood down. So I do have a lot more than I want. And I'll get my little detail gouge and clean that up in a minute. And I'm just looking for flat spots. I don't want any hills or valleys or flat spots. All right. So this is getting a little dull. So if I got another sharpened spindle gouge here. Nope. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to go to the grinder. All right, so I'm grabbing me I use a one-way jig to sharpen my tools. This is the Varigrind jig that goes with this system. And I adjust my tools to where they're 1 3/4 inch protruding. You can do 2-inch also. It all depends on the angles you like. So I'm just going to adjust the pocket. I think this was the last tool I actually sharpened, so it should be right on the money there. And just take a glance. Yep, it's cutting, sharpening all the way across. The bevel is making contact all the way. All right, that's all pretty much it takes, especially if you have everything already set up. All right, those CBN wheels, it takes the grinder time to work its way down, I'll tell you. So see if we can get some nicer cuts here with this tool. Yep, just light cleaning up cuts. And just to fine tune it.
Put your camera back.
Oh, sorry. There we go. Sorry. Thank you. Sometimes I get going. I always forget to look at the monitor just to make sure. So I'm just cleaning up some high spots I can see. And there's one right here, just slightly. And a lot of tool marks left right here from the roughing out gouge, so I'll get rid of those. And come back this way and clean up that curve. All right. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take this whole area down before I make the beads. That way it's out of my way when I make the beads. This will be a cove. I turned the speed of my lathe up. I don't know if you guys could tell. So we're just going to finish this cove off right here. Kind of flat in the middle. Let me go a little bit deeper. Give it a nice shape. And now we're start working on these beads. These are a little bit big, so I'm going to take some of that wood down. Don't need anything that big for a bead. I'll just start to cut, twist, and push. Same thing here. So we want to take this down a little bit more. Oop. Skated back on me because I had the wrong angle on my bevel, touching the wood. Little detail there. I'll come back in and clean that up in a minute with my smaller gouge. This needs to be a little more rounded. Just notice that. There we go. Want these beads to almost match as far as how big this bead can be smaller. Maybe quite as big as the upper one. I'm going to take this down. Oops. I'm getting a little tired. So now I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab my small detail gouge here. This is a 1/4 inch detail gouge. And I can just come in here and clean these little decorations up. Give it a little bit deeper cut here. And just do a nice, sharp, crisp edge right here. I'll do the same thing on this side. So that needs to be taken down just a little bit more with my larger spindle gouge. Doesn't match the other side, so I need to match it down. And go even deeper with this. Nice. These coves make nice details. Just round this over a little bit more. Take it down to about where I need it. There we go. Now I can come back in with this tool. Create some V cuts. This tool needs to be sharpened also. There we go. Just bring this over. There we are. It's looking pretty good for a handle. Now I just need to kind of clean this up just a little bit more. It's kind of rough looking. It's the first time I've used this kind of wood, and being a little fussy. So let's stop the lathe and have a look. Yeah, so it's got some work I need to do right there and right there. But otherwise, it feels pretty good. It's a nice beaded decoration on the top where your pinky can go to hold the handle. Just like that, just like that. That's why I like those coves. It gives you a little extra support when you're pushing that pizza cutter through there. So this needs to be a little bit cleaned up. I'm going to use my small roughing out gouge because I think that'll do a better job of cleaning it up. Yeah, that's gonna get rid of all those crazy marks that showed up. Just nice gentle cuts with this tool. Let's see if that helps. Oh yeah, all those little marks are pretty much erased. So I'm going to come in with that point tool, just go a little bit deeper here, here, and here. And if I can remember where I set it down at. Yep, put it back in the drawer. And here, clean these up with this point tool. Now I just want to make sure there's no tear out where these grooves are. And there isn't, so that looks pretty good. This is a different kind of wood, I'll tell you. It's pretty, but it's got the grain is just kind of weird as far as making it work right. So I need to come back here and just kind of clean that area up real quick. Grab me my large detail gouge and just kind of roll that over. Using a pull cut here. Just want to make sure it's take it all the way down to where that washer is, because that's where the pizza cutter is going to rest against the wood. So you want to make sure that's nice and true and right through here. That's what I'm doing. It's got some vibration there, so I know it's not completely trued up. So let me have a look-see. Make sure that's straight. Okay, it needs to take a little bit more off right here. You can tell by the way the tool bounces through here. It's not exactly true. That's better. That's running a lot better. I'm going to chew that bead up. Oh, I need one more. Got one more groove to put in here, right here. There we go. Now we can do those burr marks again. Make sure I grab the right size one here. Where's my... have a set this blue. There we go. Larger wire. Down in here. If I burn all the way through, there we go. Looking for that telltale sign of smoke. You can do this before or after you sand it. I haven't sanded this yet. There we go. So let me grab some sandpaper here. This is 180. Need to turn the lathe down. Get the tool rest out of the way. Yeah, I thought making a kind of a different kind of handle instead of using the regular old maple or something. You know, rosewood makes good handles for this. Those come out pretty nice. We're just adjusting the shape of the bead with the sandpaper. Making sure it's nice and rounded over. Same on this one here. Get rid of the tool marks. Any final shaping. This is when you call sandpaper shaping paper. Especially on beads. It's great for beads. I do have their tool mark right there. There's kind of a groove in the wood. I'm going to try to sand that out. Looks like I got it. All right. Sand this bead. Turn down the lathe just a little bit more. It's a little fast. Now I'm going to put oil on this one because I'm curious as to how the oil is going to look. So I'll do that for you guys real quick. Then I want to just kind of roll the sandpaper over, get this area here. I'm thinking it might be a fun thing is the texture of the inside of this cove real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my elf tool, kind of dress that up. So I'll take my elf tool texturing tool. I need to lower the tool rest. Now I'll just take it across the entire inside of that cove. These elf tools are great for coves because the round tips they can get really good well in there. So I don't know how well this wood is going to texture, but it doesn't hurt to experiment. It's doing something. Make sure you don't hit that bead though, or you're going to texture the bead. And we'll see how that worked out. It's got a little bit of texture in it, not much, but you can feel it. So I'm going to grab me a little Scotch-Brite brush here, or pad, and I'm going to get all those fuzzies out of those texturing. I'll see how well it did. If it doesn't look good, I'll just cut it away. You might even have to go a little bit deeper to get it look nice. I don't know. Well, when you oil it, I think it's going to look pretty good. It's going to make those the shadows will pop in it once it's oiled. And it gives it a different feel to it in this area. So, all right, so we are good with that. So now we can just part off the end. So I'm going to grab me my narrow parting tool here. And it is held with this chuck, so I can lighten my tail center up a little bit. That way it won't bind when I'm doing this. Oh, there's a little more support than that, I guess. There we go. I use this tool to kind of help round over the end. Because it's supported and screwed onto that chuck, I can go all the way through, just like that. And that's why you want to use the tail center when it's overhanging this far for a piece like this, as it will start wobbling on you. Let me move some of my tools out of the way. Get that little thing nubbing out of there. That could use some sanding right there. All right, so I'll just grab a piece of 120 sandpaper. Let that run on the lathe and clean that up. It is out of center a little bit, so I gotta be careful here. Turn it down, it's a little too fast. There we go. I'm hoping I don't have to take it over to the other sander to get most of this done. If I have to do that to get rid of that little nubbin, maybe. These little things that show up on the ends. So get most of the shape done now. Don't want to do too much. All right, so I can just touch that on that other sander. Oh, that is really screwed on there tight. All right. So there we go. It loosened up off the chuck. So now I'm just going to grab me some oil there before I dismount this. Put some walnut oil on it and see how she looks. I'm interested in seeing how this kind of wood oils up. So this is this Dr. Wood Shop finishing oil. I get it through Carl Jacobson. Oh, this is pretty. It's just oiled up. It looks gorgeous. So I need to get me a little acid brush or paintbrush instead of using the paper towel here to get the oil in that area. So I like these little acid brushes. They're pretty much throwaways. Okay, so I still got some, I think that's paper towel. That's what it showed up on there. So I'm going to grab me my little pad here. I'm just going to screw this back down a little bit. So turn the lathe back on and clean that up again. Some of that paper towel got in the text drain. So I just want to get that all cleaned off of it. There we go. So I just squirt a little bit on there. And we can just use the brush to get down into the little grooves. I'm not worried about getting the oil on my lathe. It cleans off pretty easy. Doesn't hurt the bed. So I still need to sand that little end. So it's just getting the oil down into those little grooves. There we go. Looks like it could use a little bit down in here. That looks pretty nice. So let me grab me a clean paper towel, wipe off that excess oil. Gentle around this area so the paper towel doesn't fall apart on the texturing. Then we can start the lathe up, just as long as it's not too far out around. There we go. I'm just kind of buff it a little bit anyway. All right, I'll grab that pizza cutter. And that is really screwed on there. I'll do it easy though. I don't want to strip the threads. There we go. And put a little oil on the end there. And I'll grab that pizza cutter. We'll see how she looks. Careful, this thing is sharp. So, large end goes into the wood. And that oil has got me really slick. So let me grab me another paper towel here. It's like that hole might have went in a little crooked. I don't know how. I drilled it on the, there it goes. I just grabbed the wrong thread. It felt kind of tight. This will go in further. Once I get that all cleared out and the thread's a little bit better. But right now, I don't want to try to screw it in with this sharp edge. But it will match up to the end right here when I get it done. So you'll see that in the video. I'll show the end pieces. That I'll add a little extra footage so you guys can show everything. I can show you guys everything when it's done. So. All right. Thank you all for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoyed today's demonstration, and hope I see you guys pretty soon.